An extra-long syringe pierces into the girl's arm. The nurse carelessly starts the four like this. The girl keeps feeling pain in her arm, but the nurse thinks she's being difficult, says some pain during 4 is normal. Several nurses say the same thing when she complains. Only Nurse Daun is different. The girl says, "My arm really hurts." Daun immediately gets a pediatric needle, removes the large needle, and gives the injection at the wrist. Instead, the girl's arm stops hurting. But kind Daun isn't well liked by others when taking patients' blood pressure at night. She won't wake those who have insomnia because they struggle to fall back asleep. Once awake, they can't sleep again. But her coworkers don't understand. They think she cares too much and slows down everyone's work. The chief nurse listens to complaints and transfers Daun out. Daun gets moved to the psychiatric department where rules are extremely strict. No jewelry allowed during shifts. ID badges can't use. Lanyards must use clip-ons instead. Even shoes must be lace-free because patients might use them for self-harm. Shower rooms have no pipes. Shower heads are fixed to ceilings. Doorknobs and door gaps are all specially modified. There aren't even curtains. So psychiatric wards greet dawn earliest. On Daun's first day, she encounters a serious issue. A woman here isn't mentally ill, but was brought by her mother. Hospitalization requires 2 family signatures. The mother forged both names, forcing her daughter's admission. Daun notices something wrong and reports to the chief nurse. The woman confesses the truth. She was sent here because she loved someone other than her husband. Her mother feared losing the rich son-in-law, so sent her here as punishment. The hospital immediately talks with the mother. They confirm her daughter did have an affair, but it was one-sided love. The man even reported her for stalking. Daun tells the woman the truth, telling her to stop her one-sided love. She can leave the hospital soon. This makes the woman angry. The woman shouts, "What you say? It's one-sided love." She slaps Daun hard, then runs into the hallway. Suddenly, she feels extremely hot. She starts taking off her clothes, happily running naked down the hall. Daun is shocked by this. The senior nurse covers her with a blanket and quickly clears the area. The woman really has mental illness. It's bipolar disorder. She has too much energy, spends money carelessly, and does things she later regrets. Daun realizes too late as she tries to follow, she suddenly slips and falls. Her first day isn't going well. The senior nurse scolds her too. At home, her brother, here she got slapped. He teaches her a boxing trick, how to take hits without pain. Every boxer must first learn how to get hit, he says. When someone slaps you, turn your face with the slap's direction. It reduces the impact, then it won't hurt. She tries it on her brother. Doesn't it hurt? He admits it hurts terribly. His boxing advice was useless. When someone hits you, running away works best. Luckily, the woman calms down after taking medicine. She apologizes to Daun. Her mother truly loves her. She brings grapes daily, her favorite. The daughter asks Daun to put them in the fridge. But when Daun checks the fridge, the grapes from these past few days, she hasn't eaten any of them. Turns out the daughter doesn't like grapes because she choked on one as a child. But the mother still believes her daughter should love grapes. Even her clothes and bags, and even her husband were chosen by her mother. This caused the daughter to develop mental problems. With the chief nurse's guidance, the woman bravely stands up to her mother. She obeyed her mother her whole life and lost herself. She didn't become happy as her mother promised. Instead, she became seriously ill. The woman decides from now on to live life her own way. She throws away the grapes she hates. She refuses to see her mother. Her mother paces anxiously outside the ward with Daun's comfort. The mother finally realizes her mistake. This time she doesn't bring grapes. Instead, she brings different kinds of fruit. You don't have to eat any if you don't like them. The daughter finally eats what she wants and lives life her way. The mother's love never fades. She just loves her daughter differently. Now Daun also learns that helping others brings great happiness. At lunchtime, Daun sees the chief nurse with her former supervisor. They're talking about Daun. The former supervisor calls Daun a burden. That's why she sent her to the psychiatric department. What's the point of being nice to patients? You just cause trouble for coworkers. Daun becomes heartbroken. She tries to run away but accidentally falls, becoming the center of attention. Soon Daun meets another patient in need. He's being transferred to a distant hospital, but worries about his pet cat and refuses to leave. Kind Daun finds a solution. She contacts the man's friend to take photos of the cat and bring them to the patient, seeing his cat being well cared for. Only then does he feel relieved. But the male patient remembers how the cat would only eat when he fed it. Now it's getting along so well with someone else. Does this mean I'm useless now? The angrier he gets, the harder he smashes the tablet. His condition suddenly worsens. This ruins his planned hospital transfer. Daeun gets scolded by the family that night. The department holds a welcome dinner for her, but Daeun asks to leave early to return to the hospital. She wants to fix her mistakes. The senior nurse scolds her again. This dinner is for you. How can you leave? The senior nurse complains to the chief nurse, saying Daeun is too inflexible. But the chief nurse asks, can't we leave a dinner early if leaders are present? Is a party more important than patient care? Truth is, when they first became nurses they all cared like Daeun does. Now they just follow rules. They've lost their nursing passion. Daeun insists on returning. Surprisingly, the senior nurse comes to help. She shares embarrassing stories from her early days. She says Daeun's kindness fits psychiatric work perfectly. Soon 2 more nurses arrive to help. All 4 nurses had the same idea. They quickly finish the work, eating snacks on the rooftop. Daeun feels deeply moved. Good people surround her. Even when others dislike you, keep moving forward. Wanting approval too much only brings pain. We need courage to be disliked. Morning will come soon. A girl opens instant noodles, cooking half now, saving half for tomorrow. She lives alone in a tiny basement, yet rent isn't cheap. Her dad texts again, pushing her to find work. A college graduate girl has to take odd jobs to survive. She sees company employees drinking at a restaurant party. She really envies their lifestyle. The restaurant owner gives her extra money for a taxi, but taxis are too expensive for her. She decides to save the money instead. Next morning, she eats the other half of her instant noodles as breakfast. Suddenly, her phone rings. She receives the luckiest call of her life. The voice tells her she's been hired by Samsung Group. Please provide your bankbook copy and ID number. Thank you, thank you. Her future looks bright now. She immediately tells her mom the good news. The dutiful daughter decides to send more money to her mother, but discovers her 30 million won savings have disappeared. She realizes it wasn't a real job offer. It was a scam call stealing her account details. For someone who saves half-eaten instant noodles, this is devastating. She tries to jump off a bridge, but firefighters save her. Now, mentally broken, she becomes confused and enters a psychiatric hospital. Nurses check patients' beds and lockers daily for safety reasons. Some patients bring dangerous items or leave trash everywhere. When it's her turn, she blocks her empty locker. Nurse Daeun thinks there's something dangerous but finds nothing inside. Not even basic necessities. Nurse Daeun has never seen such poverty. To protect her dignity, she doesn't ask questions. But the girl suddenly shouts at Daeun, "Give me back my money." She develops severe delusions. Believing Daeun stole her 30 million won, she keeps demanding it back. Daeun says, "Your locker was empty." She screams, "Don't lie, I saw it. Return my 30 million won now." Daeun replies, "I told you I didn't take it." Daeun suddenly realizes her mistake. She shouldn't argue with a patient who has delusions. So the senior nurse scolds her again. With delusional patients you must never argue back. That only makes their delusion stronger. Later Daeun learns the girl's sad story. She lost all her money to phone scammers. Even her hospital fees are paid by the government. Daeun decides to take good care of her to help her recover. Soon after finishing her rounds, Daeun exhaustedly returns to her seat when the girl suddenly appears again, saying, "Hey, you just sighed, didn't you?" She thinks Daeun sighed from guilt about stealing her money. This time Daeun doesn't deny it. Instead, she changes the subject. But the girl's delusions are too strong. She demands the money back. Within a day after finally calming her down, Daeun feels hungry, but hospital rules forbid outside food. So they ask the helpful nursing aide. He orders 2 black bean noodle meals and waits in the parking lot for delivery, hiding the noodles in his backpack. But hospital security is tight. The food smell from his bag might give him away. So he smokes by the entrance first to mask the aroma. A guard quickly stops him. "No smoking in hospital." "What are you doing?" "Oh, I forgot. I'll put it out." The nursing aide obediently extinguishes it. The smoking distraction works. He passes the first security check. Next is the psychiatric department guard. He gives the night shift guard some dumplings. Keeping his mouth full means no trouble if caught. He successfully delivers the noodles, but only eats instant noodles himself. As they happily eat, the chief nurse's voice approaches. They quickly hide the food. When the chief nurse enters, she immediately smells the food. Just as they're about to get caught, the nursing aide comes out with his instant noodles and saves them from trouble. Looks like he planned this all along. The nursing aide set up this whole plan. Now they can finally enjoy their meal. After eating, they return only to find the chief nurse still working overtime. Daeun pretends nothing happened and keeps working. But the girl appears again, asking if Daeun used stolen money to buy the noodles. Daeun gets nervous, afraid the chief nurse will find out. She quickly denies it, saying the girl must be mistaken. But the girl insists even more strongly. Check the trash if you don't believe me. The curious chief nurse looks and finds noodle boxes in the trash. They both get scolded again. Next day, when Daeun comes to work, she sees graffiti all over the hospital walls saying Nurse Daeun is a thief. Feeling completely wronged, Daeun quickly cleans the graffiti. The girl suddenly attacks Daeun again. The chief nurse tells Daeun to avoid paranoid patients to prevent further injuries. This makes Daeun doubt her abilities. Her sad expression is noticed by another patient. Though he can't care for himself, he gives Daeun a bank book with 30 million won, not realizing it's actually his student ID. He just wants to thank Daeun for her care by imagining he's helping her. Daeun never expected to be comforted by a patient this way. Daeun tries to rest during lunch. The resourceful nursing aide takes her to a hidden room. What's more surprising, the black marks on the wall are from when the chief nurse secretly grilled meat here. That takes even more courage than eating noodles secretly. She asks, "What's this on the floor?" The small dents on the ground are marks from tears. A heartbroken person used to sit here, crying every day. Over time it left these dents. He says, "The chief nurse used to curl up here crying." She says, "You're lying." Daeun takes a peaceful nap here. After waking up, she secretly locks the door and leaves. But the doctor catches her red-handed. Luckily it's a doctor, she knows. He explains why the delusional girl keeps tormenting her. When people can't change their painful reality, they imagine someone to blame, then hate and torment that person because that's the only way they can keep living. So without Daeun, that girl might have lost all will to live. But the girl's delusions keep getting worse. She sneaks into the changing room and ransacks Daeun's locker. She tears Daeun's clothes and screams at her, demanding she return the money. Then suddenly kneels before Daeun, begging in front of everyone. "I can't live without that money." Anyone watching would wonder if Daeun really stole from her. Daeun can't argue back or agree either. She doesn't know what to say. The girl gets sent to isolation. Daeun feels so wrong she wants to cry. Suddenly, everyone notices Daeun is gone. She's hiding in the secret room, crying alone. She says, "Honestly, I hate that girl. But I hate myself more for disliking a patient. I hate it so much. This isn't how a nurse should feel." After being comforted by staff, Daeun finds courage to care for the girl again. She brings instant noodles to the girl, refusing to eat. The girl says eating a whole pack is wasteful. "No wonder you steal money if you splurge like this," she says. "I make one pack last 2 days. Daeun asks why. She says, "Of course to save money." This makes the girl remember being scammed, but she still can't accept what happened. Next day, after counting patients, Daeun tries to sneak out, but the girl stops her again. Surprisingly, the girl takes out some cash, asks Daeun to deposit it for her. She wants to start saving again. All illnesses come from loss. When we lose what's most precious or lose happiness, lose ourselves. At these times we can only hold on to something called hope. Put a straw in your mouth, plug your nose and ears, breathe only through the straw. Start counting now. If you can't last 60 seconds, you have panic disorder. At 13 seconds the girl can't breathe. This is classic panic symptoms. When the male nurse tries it, he gets very nervous. Suddenly he feels dunked underwater. Strong choking feeling makes him think he'll die. This is panic disorder. Sung-jae runs from the test, goes to the window for air. He debates calling an ambulance, though he knows it's just panic. He won't really die, but the fear is too strong. He's new nurse, trainee Sung-jae. At first his panic wasn't obvious. Daeun shows the trainees around. Then a patient appears. He can't tell games from reality. He claims, "I'm healing teammate Daeun." Says, "This is support champion skill." Daeun says thanks. Tells the newbies, "This is game Battlefield. Ask if you need help." Sung-jae asks if he plays games. "I play that game too." The patient says, "I don't know." Sung-jae says, "But you just used gaming terms." The patient yells, "Shut up. Do I look like someone who plays games?" The already confused patient suddenly loses control. "Calm down." The patient says, he can't tell video games from reality. "I only acted that way because I feel sorry for him." Daeun says, "Please calm down." The now calm patient quickly uses a healing move on himself. This scares the interns badly. Sung-jae suggests taking a break. Daeun agrees. Nurse Rose gets angry when she hears, "How dare interns ask for breaks?" She immediately calls them back to training. They should know a patient's mood by how much they eat. Always check their mouth when giving medicine. Make sure they swallow it. Sung-jae acts impatient during training. He asks to use the bathroom again. Nurse Rose won't allow it. She refuses right away. But Sung-jae's careless attitude annoys other nurses too. especially Mary. She really dislikes and turns Sung-jae. After lunch together they order drinks. Forget cold drinks. Only Sung-jae orders slow-to-make hot tea. This makes others wait awkwardly. Mary complains casually, "This takes too long. Next time no hot tea." Sung-jae says, "Go ahead if you're busy." His comeback surprises Mary. From then on, Mary hates Sung-jae. But Daeun senses he's struggling. Sure enough, tests reveal Sung-jae has panic disorder. But he won't tell anyone. That night, he keeps asking for bathroom breaks. The supervisor says, "Learn to hold it, or you'll never be a proper nurse." Daeun notices his distress and quickly finds outdoor work, takes the interns outside, helping Sung-jae escape his trouble. Sung-jae pinches his palm hard, forcing himself not to panic. Nobody around him knows his careless act is just pretend. He's actually very fragile inside. Daeun suggests he face his panic attacks and stop pretending to be strong. She says, "Take your medicine." Daeun consults a psychiatrist, but learns from a friend her brother has worse panic disorder. While using the bathroom, he suddenly sees floodwater rising. The water slowly covers his body until the whole bathroom floods. He frantically opens the door. He knows it's just a hallucination, but can't escape it and faints in the bathroom. He used to be a top employee because he worked hard. His boss kept giving him more tasks, making him work until midnight until he developed panic disorder. From that day, entering the office makes him feel water dripping on him. So he quit the job, but his condition never improved. Today he finally gathers courage, telling his sister about his panic disorder. Daeun says, "So what?" Her brother asks, "Aren't you surprised?" Though seeming uncaring, Daeun already booked him a psychiatrist. Many mental health patients avoid admitting their illness, making it worse after treatment. Daeun's brother, while on medication, goes for a job interview. While waiting, panic strikes again. He rushes to the bathroom window at the worst moment. Next candidate, number 158. The interviewer calls his name, making his panic worse. Water starts flooding around him again. He remembers what the doctor said, grabs the tie his sister gave him, and shouts loudly. This time he really overcomes his panic attack. During the interview, he openly says he has panic disorder and is getting treatment. The interviewer admires his courage. He gets the job with his excellent skills. He becomes a top employee again soon. His boss makes him work overtime. He takes medicine while working. Late work reminder messages start coming as often as before. This time he talks to his manager, explains his panic disorder, asks for less work. But the manager says those illnesses come from having too much free time. Says, if he stays busy enough he'll be fine. Understand. Daeun's brother feels trapped again. Rushes to wash his face in the restroom, but water starts flooding in again. This time, even his tie trick doesn't work. The whole place is flooding. Two plumbers suddenly walk in. Turns out it's not a panic attack. There's a real leak. This gives him courage to stand up for himself and stop obeying his boss. When everyone is working overtime, he announces he's leaving. "I'm going home now." Others say, "You can't leave now." He explains his contract says 8-hour workdays only if he keeps working overtime. It's against labor laws. "Sorry, I won't break the law." Everyone looks at him strangely. But later co-workers start standing up for themselves too and stop working overtime. This man isn't sick, but keeps taking headache medicine. He does this just to stay awake. Turns out the guy has failed the civil service exam 6 years in a row. Each time he misses, passing by just a little. This time he wants to work harder than others. While eating, doing part-time jobs, or walking, he studies nonstop. When tired, he takes a headache pill to stay alert. Here, every candidate tries harder than the last, because they know passing the exam is the best chance for ordinary people to change their lives. But why? After 7 years of nonstop effort, hasn't he passed? While this rough-looking bald guy passed after just 1 year of studying. The bald guy even encourages him, "Senior, you'll pass too." He can only say thanks. Feeling defeated, he decides to relax at an internet cafe. But the games are so fun, so thrilling. In the real world, he's suffered for 7 years. But in the game world, he feels free instantly. He chooses to lose himself. In the latter, the sharp contrast makes him lose his mind. Unable to tell games from reality, he ends up in a mental hospital. Everyone avoids him, the weirdo. Only Daeun, a nurse, listens to his stories about the magic world. He believes he's not in a hospital, but in a dangerous magic temple. He's a level 60 warrior, surrounded by evil dragons. He keeps fighting them with spells. The temple master gives him quests. Each time he completes one, he gets rewards. What excites him more? Arbiter Daeun gives him energy potions daily, restoring his health instantly. She also pulls him back to reality. Slowly, The magic world fades, his condition improves, but he's dragged back to harsh reality. He suddenly remembers, the exam is in just a month. Trapped here, he's neglected his studies completely. All his hard work this year will be wasted again. Doon comforts him. Sometimes when you crouch down temporarily, it's just to jump higher later. But he has been crouching for 7 years. He doesn't know how to jump anymore. Thinking about this makes him want to bang his head against the wall. Doon tries to help him. She buys civil service exam books for him, so he can study at the hospital. This gives him hope again. Soon he switches to partial hospitalization. He can go home every night. But he doesn't really go home. He rushes to cram school to keep preparing for exams. There he meets 2 younger students. They say they only missed passing by 1 question last time. What a shame. But he says now is the perfect time to quit civil service exams. They say, hey, how can you say that? This is how people slowly get trapped, because they always come so close and can't bear to quit. But continuing doesn't guarantee success. Years pass by like this, 3, 5, 7 years, but no one recognizes all your effort. People just think you didn't work hard enough. In the end, like him, you find there's no way back with his mental health history. Passing exams seems his only job option. Under this heavy pressure, he sees the magic world again. He's hospitalized again. Doon notices his condition is worse than ever. He says, "Want to catch dragons with me, nurse?" While feeling sorry for him. Doon also notices something. He called her nurse. He used to call her arbiter. Why the sudden change? Doon reports this to the hospital. They discover he is faking his symptoms. He just wants to escape the real world. This actually means he's mostly recovered. So the hospital must discharge him. They both feel sorry. He says, "I'm sorry, I lied to you." She says, "Oh, it's okay." Doon feels very worried. She keeps reminding the boy and his family about things to watch after leaving the hospital. The boy keeps attending his cram school. Exam time is coming soon. Everyone is racing against time, so the boy skips his follow-up checkups because the hospital is too far away. It wastes study time. He says, "My judge." "Oh no, Nurse Doon. Thank you for everything." He says goodbye to Doon sadly and returns to his cram school. But these days without Nurse Doon, he feels restless. He calls Doon, wanting to invite her for tea, but Doon is busy and can't meet him. He says, "If you're busy, don't worry. Next time we must catch dragons together." Then he hangs up. The boy stands desperately on the rooftop. He feels extremely sad now and hates how cruel Korea's exams are pushing people like him to the edge. Suddenly his world starts breaking apart, turning into the magical world in his mind. He jumps without hesitation. Soon Doon gets a call from police. The man died from the fall. His parents come to blame the hospital. Heartbroken over losing their child, they drag their weak bodies trying to get justice for him. All doctors feel equally heavy-hearted. Even after seeing many deaths, they still can't help but grieve. Doon returns after 2 sick days. Colleagues want to comfort her, but Doon seems strangely unaffected, still working seriously, which seems very unusual. At the hospital entrance, the man's father comes again demanding answers, saying the hospital shouldn't have discharged his unwell son. How was he supposed to live after this? After being removed by security, the father stays sitting outside. He looks at the hospital where his son once stayed. The chief nurse sits on a bench nearby, quietly keeping this poor father company. They stay like this until dawn. Neither of them leaves. Suddenly the father speaks. He finally asks her, "When my son was in the hospital, did any doctor or nurse stay with him like this? He wasn't alone when he left, was he?" The chief nurse answers honestly, "Your son should have good memories of the hospital." The father is deeply moved. He decides not to blame the hospital anymore. But the chief nurse suggests that he joins the hospital's support group for families of suicide victims. He asks, "Why are you so kind to me? You don't have to do this." She replies, "Because I understand how you feel." The doctor explains to everyone, when someone dies by suicide, it deeply affects 5 to 10 people around them. They often blame themselves, wrongly, causing serious emotional pain. Some even experience memory loss. Their brain erases the painful memories. As the session ends, Doon comes in with documents. She sees the boy's father and wonders why he's at the hospital. He says, "Nurse Doon, I wanted to see you." He asks what his son said in his last phone call. But Doon looks confused. She asks, "What do you mean? How could he die? Didn't he leave the hospital? I just saw him at his checkup recently." Doon blames herself so much that she loses those memories. A woman's clothes are wet. She just had a baby, but can't breastfeed. They had a beautiful baby, but one morning they woke up and the baby wasn't breathing. He left them without warning. Doctors call it SIDS. They hadn't even named him yet when they buried their little one. What must the parents be feeling inside? It's impossible to imagine. From then on, the wife becomes quiet and withdrawn. The husband often secretly wipes away tears. But as the family's main support, he must stay strong. He tells his wife to rest more while he alone packs away their baby's things. He knows this hurt his wife even more deeply, and she'll need time to heal. But he never expected that one day after work he'd find his wife hanged. The man blames himself even more now. At the same time, strange things start happening at home. He feels like something has possessed him. A fleshy lump keeps moving around his neck. The man rushes to the kitchen, grabs a chopstick, and stabs himself hard. The lump disappears, but he's hurt badly. Luckily, his sister finds him in time and calls an ambulance. Doctors operate immediately and save his life later in the ICU. He's moved to the psychiatric department. It turns out he has mental health issues which caused his hallucinations. But seeing the nurses there makes him think of his dead wife. He loses control again. Tearing off his neck bandages, doctors strap him to the bed and give him sedatives to stop him from hurting himself. At night, he hallucinates again, seeing his wife's hanging shadow. But like before, he can do nothing. With the doctor's help, he starts opening up after his wife died. He found the house terrifyingly quiet when alone. If he hadn't gone to work, maybe his wife wouldn't have killed herself. This guilt is what caused his mental breakdown. The man still can't accept his wife's death. So the doctor arranges for a nurse to play his dead wife, so he can say proper goodbye. The man tells his wife, "I wanted to give you more time to cry and hurt enough until you forgot me." But now he realizes he shouldn't have let her cry alone. So we'll meet in next life. Now he can only hope for next life, when he'll treat her right. Many psychiatric patients are like this. After this man's wife killed herself, he feels strange living alone. He thinks he should follow his wife. Living feels like betraying her. But because suicide hurts people around you, those left behind must live well. Cherish those still with you. People who kill themselves don't want to end life, just the pain. Life only comes once, but pain can be eased. Time will pull you from the darkness. The floor suddenly feels soft. Dune sinks with each step. The more she tries to move, the deeper she sinks. Now she's too weak to escape. This is how depressed people feel during episodes. Dune can't even eat. Now nothing interests her. She just wants to sleep. Her brother bursts in, opens the curtains, yells she sleeps like a log all day. This laziness must stop. He carries her outside forcibly, wanting to take her driving, hoping to cheer her up, but she refuses to cooperate. They have huge fight. He complains to Dr. Friend, "My sister's so lazy and negative." The doctor recognizes depression signs. People with depression don't even have the energy to put on shoes, so you must never force them. Dune's brother realizes he was wrong all along. He actually dragged his weak sister outside and made things worse. What stupid things have I done? At the same time, Dune's mom wakes her up again. She forces Dune to go outside. Dune doesn't want to upset her mom, so she reluctantly goes out. Someone is actually looking for Dune outside. Tony brings flowers and confesses his feelings as a doctor. Tony quickly sees Dune has depression. He urges her to get treatment immediately. Dune's mom, who was eavesdropping, rushes out to argue. She tells Tony to stop talking nonsense. "My daughter is perfectly fine. How could she be sick?" But on their way home, Dune suddenly runs a red light into the street. A truck speeds toward Dune. It's too late to brake. Hearing the horn, Dune just stands still. Luckily, her mom saves her in time. Now her mom finally believes her daughter has mental health issues. She has to send Dune to a psychiatric hospital. But Dune used to be a psychiatric nurse herself. She knows she just has mild depression. She shouldn't be locked up in a mental hospital. So she starts outsmarting the hospital staff. First, she cooperates with all tests, then takes psychological exams. She knows all the right answers by heart. She also can't take the nurse's medicine, but that's no problem. She tricks the nurses, then spits it into the toilet. Her test results look so good. She gets moved to a shared room. Her roommate is overly friendly. Dune immediately sees this is classic mania. As the only sane person here, she can't stay with these patients. But Dune can't leave yet. Her mom thinks her condition is serious. So she signs papers to keep Dune hospitalized. No matter how much Dune begs, her mom refuses to take her home. Dune pleads, "Please, just let me leave this place." Mom says she'll talk to the nurses. At this moment, Dune feels abandoned by everyone. Life in the mental hospital is boring. The only thing she can do is think about random things. On her way back to the ward, she sees Tony, the guy she likes. He mistakes her for a patient. This is so embarrassing. Dune returns to her room, ashamed. This time she bravely talks to the doctor, explaining she's actually a psychiatric nurse who understands her condition and wants to leave soon. But the doctor already knows she's a nurse. Turns out the doctor and Tony are old friends, and it was Tony who recommended this hospital to Daeun's mom. Daeun feels wronged. She's a proper psychiatric nurse, yet stuck with mental patients. Daeun keeps challenging the nurses. She hides all her medicine under the bed, never taking a single pill. But her roommate accidentally sees them during a room check. Today the nurse finds a hidden packet of pills. The nurse scolds, "You can't hide medicine here." Another patient says, "Those aren't for me." But these aren't Daeun's hidden pills. Turns out her roommate hides medicine too. Hearing Daeun was a nurse, the roommate wonders how she got sick. "Hey, what kind of nurse were you?" This makes Daeun furious. So the nurses restrain her and put her in isolation again. Lonely and helpless, Daeun cries by her bed at her next doctor's meeting. Daeun argues professionally she only has mild depression. The zebra crossing incident was just an accident, not proof. She has depression, but the doctor heard the accident. Wasn't that simple. After Daeun was saved by her mom that night, she broke free from her mom again. Daeun walked back toward the traffic. Her mom tried to stop her, but sprained her ankle. Daeun still wasn't thinking clearly. She recklessly ran toward oncoming cars. Luckily Tony showed up just in time and stopped Daeun from killing herself. Now Daeun finally remembers that moment. She really does have depression. No wonder her mom was so worried. Daeun finally accepts the truth. She's not the only healthy person here. She's just like the other patients. So she starts treating her roommates as equals. She begins treatment willingly, even asks the nurse for more anxiety medicine. Her mom is happy to see her improve. Daeun says, "I'll get better soon." Daeun takes a morning walk to clear her mind, but her roommate follows her. Daeun can't say no. This makes her uncomfortable. The doctor notices this is why Daeun got sick. She always tries to please others, wants to make friends happy at work. She worries about patients' happiness, cares too much about others, but ignores her own feelings. The doctor says, "Be more selfish." Daeun learns to say no, finds it makes her feel better. She starts a praise journal, praises herself for saying no, praises her neatly arranged slippers, praises eating without staining clothes, writes down every little achievement. Turns out self-praise feels wonderful. Daeun starts looking forward to leaving the hospital as a new person. Soon the doctor says she's recovered. She can leave tomorrow. Daeun calls the chief nurse, reports her mental health is better. The nurse encourages her to return to work, promises not to tell anyone about the psychiatric hospital. But on her last day before leaving, Daeun unexpectedly meets a patient she once cared for. The man immediately recognizes Nurse Daeun because the conditions here aren't great. This patient ends up back at Daeun's hospital during doctor's rounds. The man says he saw Nurse Daeun as a patient at another mental hospital. This news spreads quickly. Colleagues think Daeun shouldn't keep nursing. They plan to protest to the hospital together. Luckily, this was just Daeun's nightmare. Daeun leaves the hospital nervously. Back home, Daeun immediately calls a co-worker asking if her secret got out. The co-worker says, "That man, he never came here." Hearing Daeun might return, everyone seems genuinely happy. But Daeun remains scared, afraid they'll learn she was a psychiatric patient. So she delays returning to work. Then Tony steps up again. Tony says he's like Daeun. He's a proctologist, but has hemorrhoids himself. Should that stop him from being a doctor? Tony encourages her to be herself, the shining Daeun they all know. Don't let illness define you. The chief nurse visits her at home, telling her not to give up. She sternly encourages Daeun. "Can you still give injections?" Daeun remembers her nursing days, caring for patients daily, helping them recover. Those were her most meaningful moments. Deep down, Daeun wants to keep nursing. "Please let me keep being a nurse. I want to be a nurse." With the chief nurse's support, Daeun finally returns to work. Her colleagues are happier than she is. But the inevitable happens. She sees the man in the ward. He's happy for her, but his family disapproves. They know about her psychiatric history. "What are you doing?" they ask. She says she's taking the uncle's blood pressure. They tell her to stop. "I'll ask another nurse to do it instead." Daeun returns to the nurse station feeling down. Her co-worker wonders what Daeun has been doing this past month. Daeun doesn't want to keep hiding it anymore. The co-worker says she doesn't have to tell if she doesn't want to. Daeun says that's not it. She buys coffee for everyone in the department, ready to tell everyone publicly about her stay at the psychiatric hospital. But another patient's relative speaks up before Daeun can. The relative says, "I want a different nurse." The relative loudly demands a nurse change. She's heard Daeun just came from a psychiatric hospital. Now all the nurses know Daeun's history. Because Daeun was just minutes late, it looks like she was trying to hide it. But Daeun still tells everyone the truth and apologizes. Surprisingly, the strictest supervisor says she can work as long as she's recovered. She knows Daeun's mental health issues came from work. Mary complains Daeun didn't tell her, or she would have visited. Rose thinks Daeun should have stayed at their hospital so they could have taken better care of her. Sometimes kindness is very simple. A word, a gesture, or a hug can give hope back to someone who feels helpless. Daeun keeps caring for the girl. Despite the family's constant complaints, Daeun chooses to ignore them. She just focuses on patient care. But news of Daeun's mental health history quickly spreads among patients and families. Families gather to discuss solutions. They're paying for treatment and want qualified nurses caring for their relatives. They greet other nurses warmly, but ignore Daeun's greetings. Daeun can handle this. But the next day news spreads online about a nurse with mental illness. Daeun faces online bullying. Everyone at the hospital points at her. She becomes the laughingstock among patients. Patients whisper, "Is she crazier than us?" Mary hears two women making fun of Daeun. She won't let this slide. Using yoga instruction as an excuse, she gives Daeun's bullies a hard time forcing them into painful stretches. Hospital bosses notice the online rumors and call the psychiatric department head to discuss Daeun's future. The doctors stand together saying they won't fire Daeun without reason. Plus, nurses are the nursing department's job, not doctors' responsibility. But bosses fear talking to the chief nurse, who's famous hospital-wide for her fiery personality. Next morning at the bus stop, Daeun heads to another workday. As she boards, someone grabs her wrist. Tony got on earlier to save her a seat at the previous stop. Daeun's heart warms. Everyone's helping in their own way. They arrive at work together, but find protesters at the entrance. Families demand Daeun's firing. She doesn't blame them, but won't give up. She just bows deeply. Tony isn't as patient. He'll protect Daeun his way. Soon after her shift starts, a panicked family rushes and their patient's condition worsened. Only Daeun is available. "No, not Nurse Daeun," they protest. Reception says, "Then we can't help. Should I process your discharge?" They have no choice now. But the mother stays nervous. As Daeun gives her daughter an injection, the mother suddenly interferes, breaking the needle, hurting her daughter. "Please don't move," Daeun says quickly. "It'll hurt more if you move." She treats the wound calmly, cleaning up the mess without complaint. Rose asks her, "Why don't you quit? This job gave you depression. Now you face unfair treatment. Why do you keep going?" The answer is, Daeun loves nursing. All the hardship is worth it. Lunchtime hospital staff start looking at Daeun strangely. Her former supervisor hears about this. Daeun expects to be scolded, but the supervisor says, "You did nothing wrong, so don't back down." Surprisingly, the supervisor encourages her. She likes how Daeun has changed, not being weak like before. At lunch, she meets Tony. His eye is badly swollen. He argued with protesters and got beaten up. The family protests grow worse. They meet hospital leaders in a large meeting room. Families negotiate with Daeun. They ask if her hospitalization is true. Daeun doesn't deny it. She'll keep taking medicine for years. The families start shouting. Medicine means not fully recovered. A sick person wanting normal work is greedy, they say angrily. They refuse to let a mental patient care for kids. Daeun doesn't know how to respond. Luckily, the chief nurse stays. She speaks for Daeun. Mental recovery takes very long. If working while sick is greedy, then should this aunt's depressed daughter stay home forever? Or the angry man's brother too? Should they never work again? She asks the crowd, "You all have sick family too. How would you feel if they couldn't go out?" A parent shouts, "How dare you?" The nurse continues, "This isn't just theory. Mental patients hear exactly this. After leaving hospitals, why let a crazy person work?" The family members are now acting as the very people they hate the most. Mental illness is like this, an unpredictable disease that could happen to anyone. None of you can promise you'll never get it in your lifetime. The mom who always refused to let Daeun care for her daughter feels heartbroken. When she imagines her daughter being treated this way, her heart aches like being cut by a knife. She leaves the protest group. The leader tells them the hospital has evaluated Daeun and decided to let her keep working. The families demand to see the hospital director, but the director has already made his position clear. If the families still aren't satisfied, the hospital can help transfer them elsewhere. The reason the director risks upsetting patients to protect Daeun is because Tony stopped the director's car last night. At first, the director didn't want to talk out of protocol, saying he had an appointment and no time. Tony shamelessly begged for a ride to the bus stop. The director couldn't refuse. During this short ride, the director admired Tony's boldness and agreed to keep Daeun. The director thinks people like Tony only have two outcomes. Either they'll cause big trouble or achieve great things. Tony's efforts pay off. When he takes the bus home, he finds his crush waiting for him. They officially become a couple. Daeun's mom is happy to entrust her daughter to such a responsible man. Now, even if she dies, she can leave in peace. In the following days, Daeun keeps caring for the girl until she recovers. The girl's mother deeply regrets almost ruining an excellent nurse's career. Daeun shows us through actions. If you love something enough, hardships will seem small. Everyone loves different things. May all find what they truly love. Nurse Rose seems to love freedom most. After much inner struggle, she finally quits her job. She was a candidate for next chief nurse. Daeun feels sad for her, because she once secretly vowed she wants to become a great nurse. Like Rose, Daeun says, "You're the reason I became a nurse." But Rose surprises her by saying she quit nursing because of Daeun. She feels she can never become a nurse as good as Daeun. We should all follow our hearts and do what we want to do. We shouldn't care too much about what others think and stop overthinking things. Our morning will come eventually.